At the press box, the hashtag on Twitter is NTV Press Box. I mean, we have so many points that we are discussing throughout the show. So just in case you want join in any of those, it's as simple as saying you head down to Twitter and join in on the big discussion. Now, joining us on the panel are two players that certainly have names you've got to write down for future reference, because when it comes down to Ugandan football, these are the folks that are going to shine big time. I have Joseph Mandela from Proline. Good evening and welcome to the show. And then I have Nelson Senkatuka here from Bright Stars. Good evening as well and welcome to the show.
Good evening, my pleasure to be here.
Fantastic. You guys are going to hold those mics closer. I think I'll start off with Joseph, and you're back to the table of men.
Yeah, sure.
It's been a long season, has it been, in the big league? How complicated has it been for you guys?
Yeah, the season has been really a bit tough because it took us to the last game to get promoted. Though we had wanted it from the beginning to get promoted. That was our target. Yeah, but thank God that finally we are there.
I mean, as a footballer, you talk to some football fans and some coaches, and they tell you it's way more competitive down there because of the kind of teams and the places you have to travel to, the facilities you have to use. Is that something that has really affected your season?
Yeah, you're right. The pitches that we use, especially the away games, the pitches are not all that better compared to the ones that the Super League clubs use.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're going to find that it's a little bit hard to play your game.
Fantastic.
Game.
I'm trying to set up the set for you guys. I'll come quickly to Nelson. Fantastic. You must be one of the happiest footballers out there today. I mean, you look at your last few days and it's been good stuff for Bright Stars.
Yeah, it's been a good few weeks for Bright Stars. We had a good end to the season. We qualified for our first semi-final, and now we've qualified for our first final as well. So, yeah, we're buzzing at the moment.
Okay, there you go. We're going to jump into that. I'll get more details from you as well. Andrew Mwangusha is here. But for now, there was a very, should I call it dirty? Should I call it ugly? One of those incidents you don't want to see in football. The other day, involving folks down at Express. Justin has been talking to us about this very issue. Here she is.
Good evening, welcome to yet another edition of Gistin's Corner. Thank you so much for joining me. So the Premier League has come to an end. That's not news anymore. After all, we already know who took the day, Man City. But what I want to focus on today is, on Thursday, Express FC played the return leg of the quarter-final game in the Stanbic Uganda Cup against Bright Stars at their home in Wankulkuku. Coming into that game, Express had a crucial point that they got from Werere, so they just needed a draw and they would be good enough. But what happens is the game ends 1-1, so they had to go into penalties. And unfortunately, Bright Stars took the day on aggregate 3-2. So what happens after they lost? Express fans gather around the coach, George Semogele, and they are chanting all these things and calling for his sacking. And they say, how does it happen that they did not proceed to the semi-finals? And it made them like, guys, you cannot be a huge bunch of jokers. First things first, how many of you expected Express to come this long way? I mean, bigger teams have been knocked out. Vipers lost it, KCCA lost it, and Express, you are at the quarterfinals and you're still making noise that you wouldn't proceed to the semi-finals. Isn't that being so funny? So they gather around Semogele, they literally want to beat him up, and police had to come in and rein in and save the day. But for how long is this going to go on? Before Kefa Kisala left, that was the same scenario. You know, after they had drawn against Ndeje at home, it was a goalless draw, 0-0. So they surrounded Kefa Kisala and they wanted to beat him up and they called for his sacking. So here we have a new coach, George Semogele. After they can't proceed to the semi-finals, they're doing exactly the same thing, surrounding the guy, they want to beat him up. And this can't go on like this. I mean, whoever is the club officials or FUFA, someone needs to rein in on these guys. Looking at his statistics, actually, he has won 5 games. He has lost 4 games and drawn 4 games. And I think that's good enough, looking at what Express is like right now. Max, are you on that part? You know, you can fill me in on this one. For how long is this going to go on? Because I think something needs to be done. If it means them being banned from games entirely or them being fined, let it happen. It cannot go on like this because it starts with the coaches, then it gets down to fellow fans, and before we know it, we all can go back to the stadiums just because Express fans are violent.
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I don't know. Mwangusha, you look at, I don't know if Max Ali or the Express fans will be happy with me this evening, but for the kind of season they have had, they shouldn't be the same fans beating up a coach for not making a semi-final of a cup competition.
I think Express somehow, by the way, would believe the Uganda Cup belongs to them. It's funny because Jose Mogere has been there for 2 months plus. I mean, you expect him to come and do miracles. Yes, it's a cup game, but you've come this far. And for me, why I find that behavior very disgusting is it's an insult to Bright Stars. Because Bright Stars came, you drew the other end, you drew here, they beat you over 180 minutes, and then you think it's a right for you to win, and then you come and accost the coach. So for me, on the day we're supposed to celebrate Bright Stars, because first of all, they're going to their first final ever in their history.
Yeah.
And then it's all downplayed by the behavior of the fans. But again, like we always say, the fans always, I know they can be charged here and there, but they need to know that their behavior is very important to the progress and growth of their club.
Okay.
So they need, and of course, Simogere as well is also express, if you know what I mean. So it doesn't help that he also looks at them and he knows everyone actually. He can pick out a fan and he knows them. So all of them are a bit charged, but I think it was too much for the fans to really express to just roll over Bright Stars.
I'll come back to Mandela very shortly. But Nelson, first of all, you finished above Express in the Uganda Premier League. You've had a better season than them, if those statistics are anything to go by. So I don't want you to comment about the chaos after the game, because then I'll be dragging into a big political battle. But how was the game itself? How good were Express on the day? How big a challenge was it for you guys?
During the second leg, it was a big challenge because they had an away goal. We knew we had to score, and conceding after 2 minutes wasn't easy as well. So we had to fight very hard to come back from behind. Express on the day was a good team. I think the pitch favors them. They've trained there every single day, and I think they thought they were the bigger team. But we came into the match knowing if we get a goal, the pressure is on them. Any other goal we score, we'll be going through to the finals.
But I mean, if you look at your statistics this season, Nelson, I mean, the goals you've scored, the kind of team you guys have, was there a feeling in camp that, this is a trophy we actually must win? We seem to be moving forward in the Uganda Cup. This is our time now to win something. Is that like extra motivation for you, the players?
Yes, I think we've actually been doing better away than at home, because in the Uganda Cup we only had one home game. We beat URA at home. We beat URA away. We beat Bumate away. We beat Nebi away. So we thought that winning at Express would be easier than winning at home. After getting the draw at home, we knew that we can go away and get the victory we need to go through to the final.
Okay, that's going to be.
And I think also on a personal level, what was going on in your mind scoring ridiculous number of goals on the final day? Was Spider that easy or just?
I wouldn't say Spider was easy, but I hadn't had the best of seasons. I needed to finish on a high. I think the last 5 games I had 5 goals in 5 games.
Yeah.
So the goals were coming slowly but surely. And I think it just blew up on the final day. I was hungrier than more than ever, and thankfully it came through.
And I'm sure you felt like you had run out of games. You wanted more after that.
I think if there were 2 or 3 more games, I would have
scored more. You know who you're playing in the final?
Yes, Pauline.
From the big league, these guys are looking for blood at the moment. Mandela, how big a clash should this be? This is a team that has been performing in Uganda's top tier. You're fresh from the big league, but you've had a fantastic run in the Uganda Cup. There is your final. What do you expect? What kind of challenge are you expecting?
We are going to expect a tougher challenge to us, because if you're going to weigh Bright Stars and Proline on a weighing scale, seriously, Bright Stars Bright Stars is heavier than Proline. So we're going to give them the respect, because they have the good players, they have a good coach. So we know that it's going to be a tough game, really, that day.
What has been special about the Proline camp this season? Yeah. I mean, I want to know, because again, I go back to the big league, not the easiest of leagues to come through.
Yeah, sure.
And then you had players, some of the few that might have been disappointed from dropping from the top tier, and then you hustle through, have a big run in the Uganda. There must be some. Is it down to Mr. Wakawulindi, or is it down to Mr. Mujib? Mr. Bisaso? There must be something special in there.
Yeah, actually, we got relegated last season because it reached an extent that we lost the confidence. Yeah, we lost the confidence. So those are some of the reasons why we got relegated. But this season, there is something that's so different that came up in the team, in the family, actually. So, with the introduction of Coach Bisaso, who's very, very, very technical regarding any game that you're going to play, it doesn't matter how many goals you guys have scored, he'll be still tough on you guys. You score 3 in half time, he comes and blasts you guys. You guys, what have you guys done?
Wow.
It's not yet enough.
You know, Andrew, I like what he says. The other day I was having a chat again with one person you definitely must know, William Makabulindi, and he was telling me how much of a family it is down at Proline, how much they know every player's single detail, whether it's from home, whether it's to school, whether it's what they have to wear. It must be one of those that contributes heavily to teams like Proline to come, from where they are to where they are now.
Without a doubt. And they have this bond about them that even when they get relegated, they never lose the unit. Somehow they go and then dig deep and come back. And the one thing that they never compromise is the way they want to play football. And for me, that's very important. So they went down and had to, make a few changes in the technical, bring in Bisaso, who I thought, by the way, only that the other bigger teams, Villa, sacking him here and there. I think he's one of, he will attest, he's one of the best motivators in terms of motivating you and instilling belief in you that you can do it. So Proline, off the field, I think they are one of the more fairly organized teams off the field, and that translates onto the team. And then they have a way they want to play football, and that they've never, given up on it. And the fact that you actually you won 12 games, drawn 6 and lost only 2.
Yeah, at home, and you didn't lose any other away.
Yes. So that in itself already tells you, because you could have qualified with several draws. I mean, you just draw, 6, only 2 losses, qualifying as a direct. So I think clearly, and then you would argue, that's big league. But their form has crossed over to Uganda Cup, which has developed, by the way, a system whereby every other season you have some team from the big league that goes all the way. If you remember on the
Pure Cup competition.
Yes. So, you can
And
go.
actually, we have to applaud Coach Bisaso.
Yeah.
In that he got to understand each player's personality.
Yes.
So that alone brought us together. And actually, Coach Bisaso himself, you can't take him as a coach. He's a father. Seriously, Andrew, you guys he'll get 11 of you guys of NTV playing against us.
And we shall beat you.
Seriously, if he talks to you guys,
Let's get this done, man.
No. If he talks to you guys and he doesn't talk to us.
Part of our team involves Joel Kamadi. I don't think you can
And
motivate him
Madoi,
to
No,
go
but if
forward.
he talks to you guys and he doesn't
Madoi.
talk to us, seriously, you guys will beat us. But if he talks to us and he doesn't talk to you guys,
We are dead.
That's fantastic. Nelson, I want to come to you. And I have so many questions for you. Because part of my question is still really about the Cranes as well. There's been banter around the media that if there are strikers out there, you haven't said this, I'm saying this, that might be disappointed with their call-up to the Cranes and appearances they have had, it should be you for the kind of performances you've had. But I was talk about the season first. How competitive has the Uganda Premier League been? Because it's the first time we're having you on the show to have that kind of discussion. For you guys to finish 8th, seeing some of the big giants, Express Villa right behind you, is football changing in Uganda? Power shift?
I think there's a power shift at the moment, because if you see how Villa struggled last season and then this season as well, and then Express has struggled to reach the top. These are the teams that are always in the top 2, top 3, and now maybe find them in the bottom 5. The season has been very tough because at the beginning, I think in the first 5 games, they were top of the league.
Yes.
And then we went through a mini spell where we didn't win, I think, in 13 games. And it was a tough time at Bright Stars. But even with that bad run, we still managed to reach our highest points tally ever. And we still finished the same position we did last season. So I think if we had won maybe 2 games during that spell, we'd be in the top 5.
And maybe the same thing, by the way, about Proline in terms of organization of the field. There's something also that's happened at Proline since, Bright Stars as well. I used to discuss a lot with Fred Kajoba, the coach, and I would tell you how, previously, players go without pay and, stuff like that. So they've also, off the field, Ian Mutenda, one of the guys who are running the things, in the background. They've managed to set themselves up in that the players are doing their job without worrying about salaries. I think that's something you can agree to. You go to the pitch, do your role.
Yes.
So there's been improvement in both these teams. No wonder they're in the finals of the Uganda Cup. So it tells you that when you organized administratively, and on the pitch things just translate into success.
But I think I don't think there are so many payment problems at Bright Stars, because if you
No,
look
they're
at,
not.
if you
Yeah,
look
they-
at Nelson's shoe here, I don't know if they there you go.
Why should it be the shoe?
And the bling, yeah?
Yeah, we like talking about shoes, Nelson, every time players come to the... I mean, you can look at his bling as well. He's certainly one of the highest earning players in Uganda's top division. But let me quickly ask you though, the striking department for the Uganda Cranes, there are so many names being thrown in there. You must fancy your chances, Nelson.
Yes, I think my goals speak for themselves. If it comes to scoring goals, I think my stats speak for themselves, and they're up there among the best strikers in the country. Yes.
And so you must be disappointed that you haven't been called that many times to senior setup.
I wouldn't say it's disappointment. I think everyone has their time. By the time the coach calls you up, he knows what you're capable of. I think he watches many of my games as well. He knows everyone's strengths and their weaknesses. So I think he has a plan. He has a plan, and I know and I trust that he knows what he's doing.
I mean, Mangusha, I know what he means, but sometimes I think it's a political statement.
No,
Since everyone has their time. Haven't we had strikers in the Cranes setup that have had worse statistics than his? And by worse, I don't mean he's a bad. I mean he has had better statistics than some players. As journalists, we've had this banter, and he should have been in the side.
Definitely, I know, and but I've also noticed over time across the world, things to do with national teams. Sometimes coaches have preferences. You might have the statistics, but the coach will say, "I want this from you," not necessarily the goals. So at times, you might do your best as a player, and the coach might want something else. We've seen it several times, not just here in Uganda. But one thing I can say for Nelson, perhaps, he still has a very good opportunity to go to Kosafa. You're leading the line at the Kosafa,
Yes.
and answer everyone on the pitch. So for me, as the only way he can actually show his anger is get onto the pitch and do what he does.
Mandela, playing for the national side, I mean, must be a dream.
Yeah, sure. It's a dream come true, but have no rush. The time will come.
Have you had a chat with Bisasu? Have you had a chat with the technical team? You might have been
Which
impatient at some
technical team?
point.
Of
At
Proline?
Proline.
Or... Yeah, we always do. We always do that. Yeah.
And they tell you guys to calm down, your time will come.
Yeah, sure.
You play for the senior side.
Maybe I've not yet given it in enough, but when the right time comes and you have given in enough, then yeah.
But you've already played for the platform ahead of next season, so you have the platform to show them what you can.
This coming season.
Maybe, Dre, these two guys are coming up against each other. We all know Nelson played for Proline. I saw his tweet trying to to get Proline out of the, and he was telling you, hey, hi, I'm coming, and they will come to him, son, it's summer time. So I'm really looking forward. I mean, he's facing his old team.
Yes.
He should tell us something about that.
Yeah.
Are you really happy you're going to beat your, or is it mother club or something?
I wouldn't say I'm happy, but it will be good to face them again.
Yeah.
It will be a good match, seeing my old friends and my old teammates. But there's no love lost, but we're there to win the cup.
I mean, but for you guys now, this is the big story. I mean, again, I go back to the season you guys have just had. I think you might have had a better season in terms of, progressing and coming
in
to
the big
top
league
division. But you guys, this is what wraps up your season. This must be massive inside your dressing room now. You must win the Uganda Cup.
For the Uganda Cup, yeah, we're going to go for it. But all aspects tells me that these guys have an upper hand.
Is that a mind game you're playing?
I
Not
think
really.
Mandela started
Yeah,
when
not
he's
really.
still young.
No.
I think it's a mind game.
No.
This guy has become better than Fadi at his age.
Not
He's
really.
he's
'Cause
giving it to Nelson. Nelson, I mean, you guys are just coming to pick the
Actually,
title.
I've been talking to Nelly outside there,
Uh-huh.
and I told him, Nelly, do you know that among the number 9s, who are really the number 9s in Uganda, even if you're to collect if you're to bring the number 9s who play professional leagues outside there, who are Ugandans, you still remain the top scorer this season.
That is how brilliant you think he is, and so you're in
So
trouble.
I think if I'm given the chance to play that final, I told him even I think I'll have to come with a soul tape. tie myself around him.
And by the way,
When they attack him,
I think Mandela is trying to play down
It's a mind game.
expectations
It's a mind game.
because you know what?
Don't
Mandela
fall
and
for
Pro
this
Line.
kind of- these things happen in
Andrew,
football.
Mandela Pro Line
But that's
are
the
on a
reality.
double by the
Seriously,
way.
that's the
They're
reality.
playing Wakiso Giants on Saturday. If they win that, then they win the big league.
Yes.
And then they come and complete a double. That will be a first for Pro Line. I mean,
yeah,
That'll be
good
fantastic.
prospects.
But before we come to these guys, and before probably we pick some more reaction on social media as well, shall be crossing over to Joel Kamadi very shortly. Mangusha, and this is not for these guys really, I think it's for us, the press. The big battle going on, the big discussion going on in the media is whether it's perfectly fitting into Uganda's dreams that it's either Pro Line or Bright Stars that will go to the Confed Cup. That is the CAF Confederations Cup. Because now, all of a sudden, some experts who seem to know how rich Proline is, who seem to know how rich Bright Stars are, they're saying, these guys, they'll win the league, but then they might not have money, the watchers to travel to the continent and play Confederations Cup. Does that even hold water?
I think as of now, let these two clubs enjoy their moment. They're in the finals. They played. There's a reason KCC are not in the final, Villa are not in the final, Express are not in the final, and Vipers are not in the final. So we'll get there when we cross the bridge. But the truth of the matter is, we can't, rubbish, put it under the carpet. Is both teams will somehow financially struggle, and they'll need support to go to the continent, because we've seen it before, where assumed big clubs pulled out of such tournaments.
Yes.
Because they couldn't handle. So for clubs like Proline, trying to get sponsors here, I think Japan might take us to the continent if you win it. They have some financial muscle there. But whoever wins, I think they will need some help. And as of now, I think let them enjoy the moment.
Okay, there you go. There was rumor the other day that you are going professional, you're going to play somewhere in Europe. Do you want to start the rumor now or restart the rumor? What's
I haven't heard that rumor yet.
Can we build on that? Or
Yeah, you can restart his own rumor and we go afresh. Guys, all footballers, before I let you go, the Africa Cup of Nations, Uganda, DRC, Zimbabwe, Egypt. Nelson, what's the group probably we could have hoped for?
I think we played Egypt before.
Yeah.
Burkina Faso is similar maybe to Congo and Ghana and the West Africans. So I think we have a chance. If we can win the opening game,
Yes.
draw in the second game, I think we'll go through in the group stages.
Yeah? Yeah? You think we're doing well at the moment?
I think the team is strong enough, it's experienced enough, and the coach is very tactical. He knows what he's doing, and I'm sure they'll be able to pick the results they need.
Mandela.
Yep.
DRC, perennial campaigners at the AFCON. Zimbabwe beat DRC in Kinshasa. Egypt, so Mo Salah, he's hosting the tournament.
Andrew, I'm not good at predictions, but I'll wait for the AFCON and enjoy.
You wait for the
Any
AFCON
team
and
that
enjoy.
wins, yeah.
Mamusha, any final?
whose team here won the English Premier League? No one?
Mine is in the Europa
Mine
finals.
finished second.
Europa finals, what is that?
Arsenal.
Arsenal.
Okay, in the
How do you go
Champions
against
League.
How do you go against Mujib? He supports Spurs. And Nelson?
We're winning the Champions League.
Champion.
Which one do you support?
Liverpool.
Wow.
You're Liverpool, you're Arsenal. Okay, let's
tough.
quickly cross over to Joel now. I don't think we need to keep these guys here on set for long, but thank you very much, guys. Nelson, really appreciate. Pleasure having you on the show. Pleasure having you on the show as well, my friend.
Thanks, Joe.
And good luck to both of you
Yeah,
in the finals.
it's a very big final coming up for both of you guys. I mean, without a debate.
Nelly, wish you all the best.
Are you sure?
the
But
best.
Mandela has been on something.
It's my,
His mind games are not working.
it's mind games. And whoever wins is going to the CAF Confederations Cup. I think that is fantastic,
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
to go and play on the continent.
Sure.
And be watched by some of the biggest scouts across the world. Joel Kamadi is standing by for what is happening first on social media, but also has a big guest on the show tonight.